Hi, this is Mike Pumphrey from Empathic Finance. If you were thinking about refinancing a mortgage recently, you may have heard about a new fee that's about to be instituted. Called the Adverse Market Refinance Fee, you may have just heard of it as a 0.5% additional cost to refinance. And it's being instituted in most places by December 1st of this year, if not before. So what this means for you is that if you had a $300,000 mortgage, then the fee for you would be about $1,500. You still have to pay closing costs, which turn out to be between 2 and maybe 6%. New fees are a drag, of course. No one wants to pay anything extra. However, in most cases, I wouldn't bother with a refinance anyway. But first, what is refinancing a mortgage? Refinancing a mortgage is the process of creating a new mortgage on an existing property from an old mortgage. So you create a new loan, and then you pay off the old mortgage, and then you have a new one. And this can come with different terms, like it can be 15 instead of 30 years, or it can be a different interest rate. Now, I'm sure over the past few years, you've seen plenty of advertisements telling you to refinance your mortgage now because rates are lower than they've ever been, and historic lows and all that, and so you don't want to wait. And by and large, this is true. Rates are at historic lows. If you go back to the 1980s, a mortgage interest rate was something like 20%. It's ridiculous. But now we're looking at rates under 3% on average. But the low rates do not necessarily mean that refinancing is a good idea. But first, here are some reasons why one might want to refinance a mortgage. First, to get a lower rate. If you have a $300,000 mortgage at 4% interest, you could end up paying upwards of $200 less per month if you compare it to a mortgage at 3%. And that difference is money in your pocket, and you can use that to pay off your mortgage faster. The problem is that refinancing costs money. The mortgage companies that are sending you advertisements telling you refinance today, they want closing costs from you. Now, this is a fixed fee. You pay it once, but it does mean that the amount that you're likely to save in interest needs to be greater than the amount of closing costs that you pay in order to make refinancing worth it. Otherwise, you're not saving any money. Taking the example of the $300,000 mortgage again, you need to hang out in that home and pay interest for around 6 years before you'd even make your money back. Now, there are some exceptions. If you have some crazy interest rate that you got years ago or some terrible deal, in the order of 8% or just something really high, or if you have one of those really terrible loans, like an ARM, sorry, I can't really draw an arm, I'm trying here, doing my best, or a balloon mortgage. Balloon mortgages are the ones that you have to pay off in a certain amount of time, like 5 years, or else the entire thing becomes due. They're just terrible ideas. But if you have one of those, then you probably want to get out of those regardless of interest rates. You want to refinance to a fixed rate mortgage now. But there are other reasons why people might want to refinance their mortgage. Some people do a refi to get money out of their home. This means that they get a new mortgage that's larger than their existing mortgage, with the extra money being, in some cases, paid out directly to the owner to be used for anything that the owner would like. I think this is a terrible idea. I don't care how low the interest rate is. The goal is to have less debt, not more. You cannot become wealthy by taking on more debt. Also, it's kind of like treating your home like an ATM, which just seems like a bad idea. It's almost like stealing from your future. Just don't do it. This is a suggestion that could save you thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. Pay more each month. This is great because you don't need permission. You don't need to ask anyone if you can do this. You don't need to get accepted. You don't need to fill out a form. You can make it a kind of set and forget thing where you set it up to pay extra each month. Through this, you can save lots of money. Every time you pay down your principal, your interest will be a little bit less each month. And the best part about doing this is that it doesn't cost you a thing. And the faster you do this, the faster you can climb the mountain up to being debt-free. Now, I get it. It's a lot easier to move debt around than it is to pay it off. That's why you see people doing balance transfers, like 8% here, but then I get no interest for 6 months, so I'm going to move this around, and then I take this and put this debt over here. And you can really fool yourself into thinking that you're doing something big, but you're not. If you're trying to be financially slick, you're probably not making the kind of impact that you want to. So this new fee that's being instituted for people who are going to refinance their mortgages, yeah, it's a bummer, but for most of you, I wouldn't recommend doing it anyway. So in short, moving money around won't get you out of debt. You know what will? Paying the debt off. I'm Mike Pumphrey for Empathic Finance, and until next time, thanks for watching me scribble.